So the Mason Mount deal actually starting to look like it could happen. Supposedly United are interested in him. And with it being early in the window, there's probably a lot of time for negotiation. But it feels to me like there's enough in this for us to start looking at maybe why United want him, what the pros and cons are with his transfer. And if we brought him in, how would he fit in? I am leaning towards the side of this is a decent signing for United. Last week, the video I did the worry with, and my thoughts on that was basically revolving around the price, because I think Mount comes in and adds into the midfield, but I don't think United should be prioritising his position or him at the rumoured 80 million over a striker. Now, I'm going to presume that they've dealt with a striker or they know what they're going to do with a striker, and this is the next option. Otherwise, I stand by everything I said last week. With that being fixed, here's specifically perhaps why Ten Hag wants Mason Mount. And like I said, he could be expensive considering the form that he's in. However, if United get him for a reasonable price, he is definitely a useful player. Now, he has proven quite a lot in his young career so far, and he's proven that he can be a top player. Last season, he got 13 goals and 16 assists, which isn't just respectable, it's bloody good in anyone's language. And he was also quite important to Thomas Tuchel when he took over from Lampard and led Chelsea to the Champions League. He scored a vital away goal at Real Madrid and he assisted Chelsea's winner in the final. So he's someone that's capable of turning up and performing on the biggest stage, which is something that I think United definitely need to add more of, and you can never have too much of that. He is dynamic as a player. He can play in the 8, certainly as a more advanced playmaker, or in the 10, or potentially even as a forward. And he's played all of those positions, and he's played well in those positions for Chelsea. There has been a huge drop-off this season, not just with Chelsea, but specifically with him. He only managed 3 goals and 6 assists this season. And the quality is there. And Ten Hag's definitely the sort of manager I think could get Mason Mount back on track. We see the transformation that we've seen in Marcus Rashford this season. So I think it's a project that would sort of work. Now, I actually think he's a bit of a Ten Hag player in a number of points. I think it's because Ten Hag probably sees him as a player that he can improve on, but I don't think that's just, there's a lot of players you can improve on. I don't think that's necessarily the thing. I think he's a player that he can see fitting into the project and being a bit of a different option. He does have versatility, which makes him beneficial, and I think that's appealing as well as his age. His age is really good. United's best starting midfield is getting into its 30s with Casemiro and with Eriksen. Mount at 24 years of age gives you something of a more long-term kind of strategy and plan. He is excellent on the ball. He can dribble and he can get goals. And those are qualities that Ten Hag will be rubbing his hands at, desperate to get the team firing again and desperate to get him firing again. He offers more in attack than Sabitzer. Certainly offers more in attack than McTominay and Fred out of United's midfielders. Bruno and Eriksen definitely get more assists and goals per 90 than him in the league. Eriksen not by much, Bruno by quite a bit. But he does get more than Casemiro, and obviously the rest of those mentioned. And that's despite bad form. He is an excellent worker. The work rate is sensational. And midfielders that have thrived under Ten Hag have generally been midfielders that work hard, but also midfielders that get great goal and assist numbers. We've seen Bruno this season. We saw what Donny was capable of doing while he was at Ajax. And Mount's shown that he can be a player that offers that sort of stuff. Aside from the goals and assists, he brings Manchester United depth. And we saw when you're missing Eriksen or you're missing Casemiro, the drop-off to Fred and McTominay was vast. And there was a reason that Sabitzer was even considered. And that was because he just offered something else. And he was another person that was able to come in. Well, Mount is a massive upgrade on Sabitzer. This Manchester United side, on paper, has a decent 11. Doesn't really have many different options or other ways of playing. And as we've seen when Casemiro was out and suspended, one suspension or injury absolutely decimates our midfield. Mount being versatile gives you a lot of options, and it gives him lots of opportunities to play. He gives you the opportunity to give Bruno a night off. He gives you an opportunity to have someone come in and play in rotation with Christian Eriksen. If he could only play one position, that might be problematic, and I don't know if he'd want to come and not be the guaranteed starter out of those. But the fact he can play several positions, he'll probably play 30-plus games in the league next season, I would think. Then there's the price. Look, there is a very real chance that we overpay massively for Mount. Chelsea want, according to some reports, in the region of £80 million, and that is just plainly too much. With a year left on his contract, with about 1,000 midfielders that Chelsea are probably going to need to offload, Chelsea need to sell more than we need to buy. And when you look at the price that's being touted for him, McAllister, Caicedo, other players are in that sort of ballpark. They don't have the same sort of contract situations that Mason Mount finds himself in. If Mount wants to move and United want him, Chelsea are going to have no choice to accept a lower fee. And I think if he was in the 40, 50, 55 million kind of range, I think he's probably worth that. But 60 plus and 80, I don't really want to entertain. Now, there are negatives. Many people will have a problem with the fact that he's a dyed-in-the-wool Chelsea fan. Doesn't really bother me that much. If he can be professional, he can do well. The question about whether or not he want to be at the club, but that shouldn't be a problem. Wayne Rooney was about as much of an Everton fan as it was possible to be, and we've had Liverpool fans come and be successful playing for this club. I think it's a bit different. He probably would have dreamt of staying at Chelsea and winning the lot with them. He's won a fair bit with them. And he gives me the vibe of being quite a professional player. So I don't think him coming to a club he doesn't support matters all that much, in all honesty. He'd probably be quite motivated just to make sure that the decision to leave Chelsea was the correct one, or to win things as a professional. That's what I think. You guys let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Would you take him? Would there be a caveat on the price? Do you think he'd be a successful sign-in? Or do you think maybe United needs something a little bit more combative? Let me know in the comments. See you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.